is here, the days are shorter, and we need activities that allow us to spend more time comfortably at home. With that in mind, I wanted to create this jacket, a jacket that can be made with quilted fabric. It is therefore one of those projects that you can devote time and love to. To make the jacket in this video, I am going to use my Greta jacket pattern. It is a jacket that you can make with either quilted or non-quilted fabric. You can buy pre-quilted fabric or quilt it yourself, as I am going to do in this video. For this, I am going to use cotton fabric that I will quilt with wadding. I'm going to share with you the method I use to quilt fabrics. I'll quilt each piece of the pattern separately. To do this, I'll cut a rectangular piece that can fit the pattern piece, leaving a little extra fabric around the edges. We will also cut the same rectangle in wadding. You may not know this, but wadding, especially if it is synthetic, will shrink or become matted if you press it with an iron. This will allow us to make the wadding as thick as we want if it is too thick at first, but always do this with a cotton fabric on top. For this jacket, I am going to use a diamond-shaped pattern to make the quilting. This diamond template comes with the pattern pieces and also has a diamond as a reference on each of the pieces, which will help you when cutting the fabric so that it is always on the grain line. So, I will mark the 2 diagonals of the diamond on the fabric. I'm just going to make 2 initial lines to use as a reference for the first 2 stitches. To quilt fabric, it's best to use a dual feed presser foot, which is a larger presser foot that you'll find among the different presser feet that usually come with a domestic sewing machine. To prevent the fabric and wadding from moving at the beginning, it is advisable to place a few pins across the entire surface. You can then remove these pins as you go along. Once you have made the first 2 diagonal stitches of the diamond, you will only have to make parallel stitches from one side to the other. To make parallel stitches, we will use this tool, which also comes with sewing machines. To find out the distance at which you need to make the first parallel line, use the diamond template as a reference. You will then have this tool at the width you need and will not have to measure each time. Once you have quilted the entire piece, you can move on to cutting the pattern. After cutting the piece, we will press it and flatten the entire outline. We do this so that when we join the seams, the fabric is not so thick in that area, as we are going to join many layers. And don't forget that for this jacket, we also have to cut the pattern pieces and lining. And now we are going to start with the sewing. We will start with the sleeve, which is made up of 3 pieces. The first thing we are going to do is join this large piece with the thinner one along the back seam. Following the curved shape, we will stitch along the seam allowance. We will press the seam towards the back. I recommend not placing the iron directly on the wadding, especially if it is synthetic. We continue sewing the 3rd piece of the sleeve. We pin the entire back seam and sew another stitch along the seam allowance. Finally, we place the pieces right sides together. On the front, seam to finish the last stitch. We will set the sleeves aside for later and move on to the body. We start with the back. There are 2 simple pieces that we will join at the center back. In this case, I'm going to press the seam open. And since I don't want to touch the wadding with the iron, I'm going to place a piece of cotton fabric on top. Set the back aside for later and start with the front neckline. On the pattern, you will see 4 marks that you need to mark on the wrong side of the fabric. These 4 marks represent a fold. We will join the top mark with the bottom mark, creating 2 parallel lines. We will fold the fabric in half, right sides together, and stitch from top to bottom. We will press this fold towards the neckline, i.e. towards the center front. And right in the center, at the shoulder seam, we will make a deep 1 centimeter notch. When looking at the piece from the front, we will see a fold. And when we are finishing the front piece, we will prepare the pocket. We will place the pocket lining on the back of the outer piece. We will place it in its final position, wrong sides together, and pin both layers of fabric together. At the top, we will sew a bias binding. We will turn the tape over as normal and cover the contour of the piece. We must bear in mind that we are working with a thicker fabric than usual. So, the tape we cut to make the bias binding should be at least 5 centimeters wide. The pattern has marks roughly in the center at the top and bottom that indicate where we need to stitch to join the pocket to the jacket. Mark this line on the wrong side of the fabric and go over it with thread so that it is visible on the right side. Then we will place the pocket on the front of the jacket, pin it in place, and stitch along that line on the machine, thus joining the 2 pieces. We will join the front and back of the jacket along the side line and then along the shoulder line. We will match the 2 pieces right sides together and take advantage of the notch we made at the neckline to stitch from one side to the other. We will press the seams towards the back. Place the two ends of the collar right sides together and stitch along the seam allowance. We will press the seam open. At this point, we will have a gap in the neckline area. Turn the neckline over onto the right side of the body, match the center back seam, and stitch from fold to fold. Once the neckline has been stitched, press upwards towards the neck. If you like vests, this is how the sleeveless garment would look. But what we are going to do now is attach the sleeve itself. To do this, we have to position the sleeve so that the entire armholes of the body and the sleeve itself match up. For that, we use the armpit notch, the shoulder notch, and the two front and back balance marks as references. So, starting from the armpit, we will position the two pieces right sides together around the entire contour of the armhole. We will sew along the seam allowance and press the allowance towards the sleeve. And that's how we finish the outer jacket. We will repeat all these steps for the lining, obviously without the pocket. Once the lining is sewn, we will join it to the outer jacket in its final position, i.e., with the wrong sides facing each other. Insert the sleeves inside the sleeves of the outer jacket and match the entire contour of the jacket. Hold it with pins. To join the lining and the jacket, use bias tape around the entire jacket and also around the sleeve opening. So, the bias tape as normal, as before, it should be a wide tape, at least 5 centimeters wide. It is important that the tape is cut on the bias because the jacket has many curved shapes, and you can also use an iron to help give it more shape in those areas. Once you have finished the contour of the jacket, repeat the same process on the sleeves. It is true that the sleeve opening is not very wide, and although we can do the first step by machine, i.e., the first stitching of the tape, I found it easier to do the final step, i.e., the second stitching after turning and wrapping the sleeve opening by hand. All that remains is to add the laces to close the jacket. To do this, we will use the rectangular pattern piece, fold it right sides together, and sew along the seam allowance at one end and the entire length. We will cut off the excess fabric in the corner and turn it inside out because the other end is open. We will use a blunt stick to push the fabric and turn the entire lace. Then press it and it will be ready to be sewn to the jacket. Attach the ribbon right where the pocket stitching is, from the middle of the ribbon itself, securing it with a few stitches either by hand or with a sewing machine. First on one side and then on the other. This way of placing the ribbons will allow us to make a beautiful double bow, and with that, we will have finished the jacket.